On today's episode of The Happy House, an easy and economical lamp revamp, how to plan your own meal swap, and then we have expert Liz Heineke teaching us how to do experiments with your kids in your kitchen.
Pour your vinegar into your base.
Stay tuned for The Happy House. I'm at Mama's Happy today, one of my very favorite places. It actually makes me happy. And I'm with Amanda Fisick, who is the owner, and we are going to do a fun project, a lamp reboot, if you will, right?
We are.
Take me through what we're going to do here, because I kind of have a clue, but I want to just see it all.
Well, sometimes it happens that you've got a lamp in your own home that maybe just doesn't match your decor anymore. Sometimes you're out garage sailing. These are things you can find for dirt cheap because people think, well, if it's out of style, nobody's going to want this anymore.
Right.
But really, it takes so little to bring it into your current style of your home.
I love the shape of this lamp.
I love the shape of this lamp too. And actually, a funny story, this lamp was brass. Okay, so you can imagine bright, shiny brass. And we...
I don't know if I like that.
Yeah, it was not lovely.
Okay.
It was my mother-in-law's.
I hope she's not watching.
We first painted it, I'm sure she is watching. We first spray painted it with an oil rub bronze a few years ago. Now I'm kind of tired of that look, so we're going to try something different.
Sounds good. All right, what are we going to do to this?
Okay, so we're going to start with, this is the line of paint that we love to work with. It's Annie Sloan chalk paint.
Yes.
The beauty of it is that you don't have to do any priming or sanding or preparation. So with the spray paint, you know, if you scratch on it or something, it's going to come right off.
Okay.
With Annie Sloan chalk paint, it bonds to whatever is on there. So you can see that this is what we started with, the spray painted version, and under that you can see a little bit of the bronze or the old brassy. Okay, so then we're going to just take a little bit of paint, and I like to take my paint out of the can and then put the lid back on the can and pour some paint into a little mixing bowl.
This is really handy. So you put the
So
paint in
handy.
squeeze bottles.
Yes.
Does it keep then? It's just fine?
It absolutely keeps. It makes cleanup so much easier, and you can get exactly what you want. You're not then trying to clean up the can and get all the excess. You waste a lot less paint that way too.
Good
So these are fabulous. Okay, so we're just gonna load up our paintbrush and start working it on that lamp. And you don't even have to worry about how you're putting it on. Now, if you are like us, we like kind of the textured look, so we'll definitely put a second coat on here.
Okay.
If you're somebody that says, I don't like all that going on, I want it nice and smooth like the spray paint looks, then I would just have a separate dish here with some water.
Okay.
Dip your brush in water every once in a while, and then it's going to go on a lot smoother. You won't see all the brush strokes going on.
Makes sense.
Okay? All right, so voila, look, our paint is dry.
Okay.
Okay, so the next step is to finish your paint, which is done with a soft wax. And Annie Sloan's paint is kind of a two-part system. So you paint and then you seal that with the wax.
And you have to use the wax.
You definitely want to use the wax. Yep, it has, you can see that it has a very matte finish. It's very flat.
Yes.
And so the beauty of that is what makes the paint go on so easily and adhere. But you wouldn't want it to stay like that.
Yep.
Okay, so we're just going to add wax. And the wax is kind of the equivalent of, say, a polyurethane. All right, so it's going to seal in.
But no smell. I mean, it's really great to work with.
Listen, we were painting the other day with wall paint, and we were all having to go outside and get a breath of fresh air. Yeah, huge difference. Now, you've got your clear wax on, and I always come back and wipe off just in case there's any.
Because I think when you and I painted before, if you feel anything sticky on here, you know
Yes.
you've got excess
That's
on and
exactly
you need to
right.
wipe it clean. Okay.
That's the most common problem people have with the paint is they think with the wax more is better. That's just kind of what we always seem to think, and that is not always the case. Okay, so then if you like, you can come back with just a little bit of dark wax.
Which almost looks like tar
It does.
or black, but
It
it's
does.
going
It
to
sca-
just
it
add like
scares
a
a lot
patina.
of people.
Yeah, okay.
All right, but don't be scared because this is what really gives your piece some character. So you're going to put the dark wax. Really what you're simulating is dirt, okay? So you're just going to put this around where...
Fake dirt.
Fake dirt, okay?
I'm going to call it patina, not dirt.
Not dirt.
Okay.
Okay, so then we're just going to come again and wipe off any excess. But you can see how that gave it some age.
I like it. So this lamp you happened to get from your mother-in-law, but when you've been out sailing or looking for things, I mean, what's the best price you've ever found on a lamp, or how much should I expect to pay for something like that?
If you're garage sailing, I would plan to spend less than $5 on a lamp. And don't be afraid if you find one. Sometimes we'll buy them even if we don't love the lamp base, but it has a good shade with it.
Because then you'll redo that?
Exactly.
So, which brings me to our next point. We need a shade.
It does need a shade.
Do you have any thoughts on what we can do for
I
that?
definitely have some thoughts on that.
Perfect. Let's do it.
So if you can see right here, this is the lamp that we started with and the shade. And so this is the actual shade that came off of that lamp.
Right.
So now this is where you really make it your own. You really make it fit in your home and what you've got going in there right now. So these are just burlap sacks.
Burlap is really big right now. I've seen it all over the fabric stores, and it's just such a great textury look.
It's got great texture. It's very inexpensive. So at a fabric store, it'll be $2 a yard.
Okay.
Easy to work with. Okay, so all you're going to do then is lay your burlap out and then wrap it around, and then we just used a handy dandy hot glue gun to glue down your seam, glue it down under and around the top.
How do you figure out the shape? That seems like it's the hardest part to me.
The hardest part to do it. It works best to lay it out flat and then lay your shade down on it, and then you can get a rough idea of the width that you're going to need to cut.
Okay.
So you can cut your strip, so you want to obviously leave some to have some overlap, but that will give you a more manageable size piece to work with. And then you're going to take that long strip and wrap it around and then start gluing around the top. So your piece will actually have, when you measure this out, it's going to roll with the shade. Okay, so it's not going to end up laying. You'll trim some once you get it on here.
Got it.
The other options are to do some more additional embellishing. You could make these little kind of rosettes, and you can make those out of lace. You can make them out of burlap. You can make them out of twill. Okay, so these are super simple to make.
Really? Because they don't look simple.
I promise you, Happy.
Okay. All right.
Even you can do this.
So cute. All right, so let me just put these to the side, and you're going to show me how to make these rosettes.
So again, you could choose any fabric. As you saw, we've done this out of burlap. We can do it out of twill. You can do it out of lace.
I love the juxtaposition of sort of this clean white look with then the burlap.
I love that too.
And making like a flower or a rosette with something that's kind of rougher.
Rough, yes. I think that is one of the most beautiful ways to put your home together, where you have some things that are clean and finished and some things that are a little bit more rustic.
Yes.
Okay, so in this particular case, if you wanted to try using this type of a style, we'll show you how to make them. You could attach multiple all the way around the base.
Oh, that'd be cute.
Or you could do the kind of one larger, simple embellishment.
Okay. So show me how to do this.
The easiest thing, you're just going to take your fabric, whatever you've chosen to work with, and actually just ripping it works the best. Okay, so you're going to rip it down into strips, because that is going to give you that rough edge that we want to have.
Yes.
Okay. Then with a hot glue gun at your side, okay, a girl's best friend, you're going to twist and turn. Twist and roll is probably a better word. And as you're going around, adding hot glue dots, you'll definitely,
So basically taking the strip, making it more compact, and twisting it into this circle, gluing it. And I can feel the hot glue in there. It's just dabs.
Just dabs.
Yep.
And being careful not to burn fingers.
Well, yeah, that happens.
It just happens. That's just the dangers of being a crafter.
It's part of our war. It's part of our crafting war. Yes.
So as you go around, you can see you're building it. You can build it as small or as large as you'd like.
Okay.
Okay, and you'll have glue going along. And then whip out as many of those as you want to get the design that you'd like to have.
That's really great. Thank you so much. I'm inspired. I can't wait to actually do something like this for my own house.
I'm so glad, and how quick and easy to redo something that many people would want to just get rid of.
I know, I love it. I love it. It's always a fun time here. All right, we've got our before and after here, and there is quite a difference.
There is.
This is a very stylized lamp, and it's just something that would look great in a family room. I'm really excited about how this turned out.
I am too, and I love that it has character to it, that it doesn't look like a lamp that everybody's going to have in their home. It really is a way to add your own personality.
Yes. Oh, well, thank you so much for today.
Yes, absolutely.
To learn more about the project we did here today and see more projects with Amanda, visit our website. After these messages, learn how to host your own meal swap. Family Meals Easy. today with Alice Seifert, our family food expert, and we are about to take on a meal swap.
Yes, meal exchange.
Meal
Yes.
exchange. So you have organized this with just some families from your church, but you could do it with school or whatever, but how did this come to be?
We've had this exchange for about 5 years, and it started in my mommy's group. So my friends from my mom's group, we realized we needed some help in the kitchen, we needed some diversity in our meals, and wanted to cut some time in the evenings and be able to quick make meals when we went back to work.
It's actually nice because I do find myself making the same. I mean, I have really great recipes, but I make them again and again and again, and then other people like to eat them, but like my family's like,
yeah, and that's what we find here is there's people that are really looking for something new, a new spin on something. They make things over and over again, so it gets a little repetitive. So they're getting some options to make a big batch of maybe something they're really good at, and then swap it out for something else that maybe is a husband's favorite or their kids will really like, or something new they want to try, like quinoa or something. For those of you guys that are new, we'll do introductions, and everyone will go around and explain their meal. Just let us know what's in it and if there's any special cooking instructions. And then as far as exchanging goes, you take as many meals home as you brought. So if you took 4, you take 4 home today. And then whatever your meal type is, you can take different meal types as well. You don't have to stick in whatever you brought.
how do you know what you're getting at this meal swap?
So our group has kind of evolved over time in that we've welcomed different types of eaters, people that have allergies, different food preferences, and so we swap vegan, vegetarian, and meat meals. You basically come to the exchange with however many meals you want to go home with, and then you can pick different meals. So if you bring a meat chili, you can go home with a vegetarian meal. We kind of do interchanging of meals like that.
That's
and
great.
we run a number system, and it's just a lottery of numbers, and then people, it's our fair way of being able to pick meals in a random order.
So everyone draws a number, and then it's like a kind of like a fantasy football pick, honestly. Like you rotate around, right?
I call it it's kind of like airline seating, basically, where we're calling people in different rows or number groups, and then they go in their number group, and I'll let them know if they pick 1 meal or 2 meals each time, and then they just assemble all of their meals. However many they brought is however many they go home.
That's perfect.
So I brought 2 beef and bacon chilies that are fully cooked, and then I also brought 2 turkey meatloafs, and I make my meatloaf with granola and dried fruit.
I brought baked spinach ravioli. It does have wheat, soy, and dairy. We brought vegetable lasagna. It's got mushrooms and spinach in it, and then they're very small loaves of whole wheat bread with it.
Chicken sweet potato curry stew. I think that pretty much sums it up, except there's also kale in there.
What I've noticed about this is there's a lot of dads showing up, and I actually am not stereotypical. Like my husband makes a lot of meals and things in our home, but I thought of this kind of as like a mommy's group, but it's like a family's group, which I love.
Yeah, it's definitely a family's group. We have the kids come and they play. It's our chance as moms to kind of talk about parenting and catch up and see each other. And the dads also hang out, but my husband comes so that he can pick out what meals we're taking home.
He's like, what are we eating this week?
exactly.
I mean, yeah, okay. It's actually amazing. I love it.
Group 2, take 1 meal. Group 2, take 1 meal.
What's happening right now is each family is picking meals in order of the number they drew. So they're grabbing meals for their families, taking as many meals as they actually brought. We saw also a lot of amazing little kids who are invested in what they're eating as well. It's just a really great program.
And what's really funny is the imaginative play that goes on at home. The kids sometimes at home play meal exchange.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. Alice, thank you so much.
Thank you very much for coming.
It's a fantastic idea, and I actually am seeing meals I want to take home, but I didn't bring anything.
Next time, please come next time. Yes.
To learn more about how to host your own meal exchange and see more of Alice's recipes, visit our website. Coming up next on The Happy House, we have expert Liz Heineke teaching us how to do experiments with your kids in your kitchen. I'm here today with Liz Heineke, a scientist who has recently written a book called Kitchen Science Lab for Kids. And actually, Liz, I've been a fan of yours for a while. I've been kind of following your website, all of these great ideas you have for science with kids, so I was thrilled to see a book come out.
Super exciting.
So how actually did you get started with all of this?
Well, before I had kids, I worked in a science research lab for 10 years, and I studied microbiology, and I did stuff like cloning DNA and lots of fun stuff. But when I stayed home with my 3 kids, I wanted to introduce them to science. So we started doing Science Wednesdays. Every Wednesday, we would go to the Science Museum, or do science at our kitchen table, or go on a caterpillar hunt. And I started blogging about it. So that's how my website sort of got started.
That's awesome. And so then you thought, hey, I've got enough content, like let's write a book?
Yeah, the publisher actually found my website and contacted me, and they said we'd love to do a science book as part of our Hands-on Family series.
The book is amazing.
I'm going to teach you guys the science song before we get started, because I always make all the kids I teach sing this so they can remember the 3 major kinds of science, which are physics, biology, and chemistry. So repeat after me. Are you ready? Physics.
Physics.
Biology.
Biology.
Chemistry.
Chemistry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Physics.
Physics.
Biology.
Biology.
Chemistry.
Chemistry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo! You guys are awesome. Okay, so we are going to start by doing a chemistry and biology experiment.
All in one?
All in one. Most of my experiments start with things you have around the house, but for this you actually need to go to the grocery store and get, do you guys know what this is?
A cabbage.
What color is it?
Purple.
Why do you think it's purple? Can you guys say pigment?
Pigment.
Pigments are molecules that give things color, right? Like our eyes and our hair and our skin. Okay, so this is purple because the pigment in it looks purple when it's not in an acid or a base, when it's at a neutral pH. Can you guys say neutral?
Neutral.
So if you take this and have an adult help you chop it up, boil it in water, and strain out the cabbage pieces, you are left with this stinky, amazing purple juice. And it's
very
purple
pretty.
because water has a neutral pH. So I'm going to give each of you a cup of this cabbage juice. Now this is really special. Can you say acid-base indicator?
Acid-base indicator.
You guys are awesome. Okay, this is an acid-base indicator, and all that means is that it changes color depending on whether you put it in an acid or a base. We're going to test some common kitchen chemicals to see whether they're acids or bases. Who has ever baked cookies?
What's a base? I always bake cookies with my mom.
A base is a chemical with a high pH, and bases usually taste kind of bitter. You don't want to eat most of them, but they taste kind of bitter.
Like a lemon?
Lemons are acids. So we're going to actually test some lemons, some vinegar, some baking soda to see whether they're acids or bases. And the color changes. This pigment, if you put it in an acid or base, it actually changes shape. And it absorbs light differently, and that's why it looks different. So I'm going to have each of you, to one of your cups of cabbage juice, add a big giant spoonful of baking soda to that, and then stir it up. Here, you want to go first? Dump that in your baking soda and stir it up. You do it. And when you're doing science with kids, it's important to let them do the measuring and do the stirring.
Gosh.
What happened?
It turns
Okay, you do it.
turquoise, bluish, whatever it is.
Yeah, the pigment, the molecule's changing shape because. Can you guys say Can you say sodium bicarbonate?
Sodium bicarbonate.
That is the chemical name for baking soda, and baking soda is a base, and bases make cabbage juice turn blue. Now, if you add an acid to cabbage juice, it will actually turn pink or red. We're going to test another kitchen chemical to see whether it's an acid or a base. So you guys have vinegar in these 2 cups, and I want you to pour all of that vinegar into your other cup of cabbage juice to see whether it turns blue or pink. And remember, it turns pink in an acid and blue in a base. All right, so do you guys know what a chemical reaction is?
Yeah.
What do you think it is? You go first.
It's like chemistry when you make 2 things together to make something new.
That's exactly what it is. Is that what you were going to say?
A little bit different, but basically the same idea.
That's exactly what happens. So what do you think the new thing you make is when you mix together baking soda and vinegar? What new thing might you make? Can you guys say carbon dioxide?
Carbon dioxide, that's what we breathe.
Yes. Well, we exhale carbon dioxide. We breathe it in the air. You're right. We breathe it. It's in the atmosphere. We are going to do this chemical reaction that makes carbon dioxide gas bubbles. So I want each of you to pick up your cup of vinegar. Can you say acetic acid?
Acetic acid.
That's the chemical name for vinegar. Okay. On the count of 3, pour your vinegar into your base. 1, 2, 3. Go ahead and pour it in.
Exploded.
What kind of bubbles are those? Do you remember?
Carbon dioxide
Yes,
bubbles.
carbon dioxide gas. And feel your cup. Does it feel warm or cold? Cold. Lots of times when chemical reactions happen, you can feel temperature changes. And in this case, can you guys say endothermic reaction?
Endothermic reaction.
They feel cold. You did an endothermic chemical reaction. You guys are awesome. What happened to the carbon dioxide gas when it came out of this reaction? Where did it go?
Exploded.
It went
like a
out.
volcano.
It went out into the air, right? What if you trapped that gas in a balloon? What would happen?
I think it would like float.
Okay, I'm gonna have Happy help you guys.
I call yellow.
She is going to hold open the balloon, and I am too. And this is kind of messy, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna hold open the balloon, and then we are going to add, and can you guys do this? Can you add baking soda, 2 big spoonfuls of baking soda at least, into the balloon. It's kind of hard. Don't worry if you spill. I'm gonna grab the vinegar.
You got it? You got it?
All right.
This is really messy.
Now while they're doing that, can you help me pour this vinegar into the bottom of this bottle? Okay.
Perfect. Thank you, Ella. All right.
So in our balloon, in our bottles, these are just empty soda bottles, we are putting some vinegar. Okay, we'll just do it with one balloon. You guys can both do it. So you need to put on your goggles for this. Who wants the blue goggles? Do you want yellow?
Oh, I wanted the real one.
I will give you some goggles too. Let me feel how much baking soda is in there. That's pretty good. All right. So what we are going to do, do you need a test tube to do a science experiment?
Not always.
No, this bottle is our test tube. We're going to do our reaction in here. So what we're going to do, we don't want the reaction to start quite yet, but we are going to put our balloon over the mouth of the bottle. And then on the count of 3, you guys are going to shake this baking soda down into the vinegar. And do you remember what kind of gas we're going to make?
Carbon dioxide.
Yeah?
Oh,
Okay.
that's heavy. That's
So
Kind of
shake,
heavy.
so lift up the balloon.
Lift up the balloon. We're going to start our reaction. Both of you shake it down. Shake all that baking soda down in there. What's happening? Oh, I think there's even a little more. What happened?
What's happening is it's getting crazy in here.
It's trapping the carbon dioxide gas, isn't it?
I hope it doesn't blow up.
My kids and I did it once, and it blew way up to the ceiling. That's why we put on safety goggles when we do this experiment.
Liz, this has been amazing. It's so fun. What do you guys think? Did you learn some new things today?
Yes, it's so cool.
And honestly, just as a recap, I mean, we used cabbage, we used baking soda, we used vinegar, and
Bottles.
Bottles. So
So
easy
much
to do
fun.
at your own house, and such a great lesson and great reaction. Thank you so much for being with us.
Awesome. And chemistry. So repeat after me. Are you ready? That was really bad. Physics.
Physics.
Biology.
Biology.
I'm totally playing it in the wrong key. I'm totally flustered. Okay, ready? Physics.
Physics.
Biology.
Biology.